Welcome to Crypto for the Rest of Us. Every day I bring you one tip, one tool, or one crypto analysis, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about AERO, Aerodrome Finance. I always go over 5 different areas in each analysis, and at the end we talk about price prediction. First, we're going to talk about the crypto itself. How does it work? What does it do? What industry is it in? Then we'll look at founders, investors, who put money into it. That always matters. Who's backing it? Do they have funding? Then we'll talk about things like the total value locked, the revenue projections around it, what it's done in the past, the future. We'll also look at the coin in terms of tokenomics, what's out there, the circulation. And lastly, we'll talk about the prices and the predictions. I'm gonna put on my glasses here. Now, what you get with the glasses is you get an old guy with glasses, which means you're getting wisdom and experience. Just kidding. You just get me. I always have to say, 1, I own this coin as of the making of this video. And 2, this is not financial advice. I'm just a big dumb animal. Don't do anything that I do. Okay. Aerodrome Finance. Here it is on CoinMarketCap. It's where I always like to start to get some of the basics. I'll say here at the outset, if we look at a 1-year chart, we're currently around 60 cents. This is July 2nd. It had been up around $2. Like I said, I own it, but my average price is just over $1. I'm very jealous of anyone who's able to get it around this 60 cent mark. What market is it in? It's in DeFi. So Aerodrome is on the Base network, and the Base network, of course, was created by Coinbase. So if we look at on CoinMarketCap, what they have as their top DeFi tokens, this is, if you've seen my videos before, you just go to cryptocurrencies, you go to categories, and then I chose DeFi. And if you scroll down here, they sort them by market cap. And remember, market cap is not fully diluted. Market cap is the number of current coins in circulation times the current price. So some coins only have 10% of their coins in circulation, or 20%, or 30%. So I prefer fully diluted. And if you go down here, they're in total, out of all the coins market cap, they're in the 200s. So if I were to say, and you were to look at, let's say, the top 10 coins, the top 20, the top 30, the top 40, the top 50, that's a good place to play if you're trying to, hopefully, we would think that you would be minimizing your risk, but potentially minimizing your gains, right? Because they're larger market cap, they're more established. At 200, this could be considered a very risky one, but I'll tell you why I like it and why I bought it. Let's get into that. Also, we can look at Aerodrome here on CoinGecko. A lot of the same information, and they have it in their category for top DEXs, decentralized exchanges. Now, if we look here, they come in at probably like the 10th or 12th one down. Yeah, interesting. This list on CoinGecko, personally, I think it is a better representation of decentralized exchanges. I think there's a bunch of ones that don't really fit in the other one. Anyway, it's a decentralized exchange. So let's go to their website. It's aerodrome.finance. I'll put that in the link. Here it is, and this is essentially what their white paper. They don't really have a white paper. This is their about section. Next generation automated market maker designed to serve as Base's central liquidity hub, combining a powerful liquidity incentive engine, et cetera, it was launched on the 28th of August, 2023. Hasn't been around very long. Their main token is AERO, and they have a governance token. Now, the Base network is a layer 2 built on top of Ethereum, trading and liquidity market space on Base. All right, now let's get into how this works. You essentially have 4 different things. You've got the trading, swapping tokens. They say they've got minimal slippage, the typical thing that they all talk about. So you can swap tokens. Okay. You can provide liquidity, talk about protocols and voters. But for the most part, it's liquidity providing in traders. It's a DeFi platform. It says they've got over 500 million locked. We'll look at that on DeFi Llama in a moment. You go to your dashboard. Let's go to liquidity. Okay. Yep. My wallet. Switch your wallet to Base. That's fine. Let's get it started here. Okay. Now I like their interface. I think it's real simple and easy to use. It's laid out well. this How It Works tab, I'd point you here. You click Read More. This is a great primer. It talks about correlated tokens and uncorrelated. Okay, so of course correlated is things, stablecoins. USDC, DAI, meaning they're correlated to an underlying asset that doesn't really vary, the dollar, the US dollar. And then uncorrelated, for example, AERO and BTC. They get into their stable pools and their volatile pools. Stable pools are stable coins. They're not going to move much. Volatile pools, everything else. They give you a visual representation of it, and it goes into some more detail how they calculate their APRs. All right, so you can look at their active pools, their stable pools. So if you go into stable, if you're not familiar, what you're doing here is you're providing liquidity for those that want to swap one thing for another. And in the stable pools section, you can look at all pools, but let's look at stable. All of these are stable coins, right? It's DOLA, USDC. You want to trade those two. So if you provide liquidity, you can get an 18.3% yearly return. It tells you the amount of volume, the amount of fees, and the pool balance. Typical liquidity site. Then you can go into the more volatile ones. USDC versus AERO. They've got concentrated, incentivized, low TVL, total value locked, and then all pools. And if you're not familiar, I'll just show you real quick. So what you would do here is you would provide some USDC. I've just got a little bit of AERO on this wallet that I can happen to connect so we can see how it works. And you provide a little bit of the other asset. It's a balance. It'll tell you how much of each. And then you're a liquidity provider. And then you're going to be able to watch and receive, you're going to be able to receive that interest rate back. If you're not familiar, just real quick, there's something called impermanent loss. So let's say that you provide $100 of USDC and $100 of AERO. So you want to be able to provide liquidity here. So you're going to put in some coins, your AERO coins, but they're at 60 cents at the moment. So what happens if those coins go up? Well, this pool changes over time. So when you first put it in, let's just say it's 50-50 of each coin in terms of dollar value. But if the AERO token goes up in price, then the number of coins you put in would be worth more. So what does it do is the pool itself will sell some of those AERO because you're in with a lot of other people. And then it'll sell it because it wants to balance out the dollar amount of each. So you could essentially, when you withdraw, you're going to get the same dollar amount, but you could get less coins because they went up in value. So personally, because AERO's at 61 cents, I wouldn't be looking to provide liquidity in that pool because I believe it's going to go back up to $2, I'm thinking in a couple months. That being the case, I would rather, instead of earning, even though it's a nice 78%, that's on a yearly basis, I would prefer to hold on to it because if I believe in 3 or 4 months it's going to go from 60 cents to $1.80, well, it just tripled. So why would I bother putting it in here for 78% over the course of a year if I could triple the value? Anyway, that's a totally different issue, but that is essentially when it comes to when you're providing liquidity, one of the things you want to look out for. I do like using these DEXs. I do like being a liquidity provider, but typically if I believe it's a bull run, I kind of stay away from the liquidity. I might stake things just to receive a return, but I'm not going to be a liquidity provider if I think we're in a bull run. All right, now let's look at that. That's what it does. That's what Aerodrome does. Let's take a look at Coinbase Ventures. They were the one, and from what I can find, the only funder at the moment. If you're not familiar, Coinbase has its own venture fund and they invest in all sorts of companies. They've got a portfolio here. It says Coinbase Ventures invests in exceptional founders who share Coinbase's mission for creating more economic freedom for the world. I'm going to get to why I believe this is a very important exchange. Now, if we go over to they have their portfolio here, and you can see everyone that they invested in. But there's something interesting about Aerodrome. So here is their entire portfolio. It's a lot. And then they broke it down by DeFi, CeFi, etc. But Aerodrome, it says here, it's on their Base ecosystem fund. So they have a fund specifically for the Base ecosystem because they created Base, the layer 2 on top of Ethereum, to compete with these other networks. All right. The Base Ecosystem Fund, I'm going to read this here, is an initiative launched by Coinbase to support the development and growth of projects on the Base Layer 2. That makes total sense. They want to encourage development, they want to support infrastructure, they want to promote adoption, and they want to enhance DeFi and dApps. So essentially, they're basically saying, hey, this is a fund that we're going to use to help anyone or most that want to build on the Base system because they want it to be competitive. Now, when it comes to founders, I couldn't find any information that I thought was valuable. So I'll just point you here to the Aerodrome Twitter. I'll put a link to this in the description. Recently, they have interesting stats that you can follow. This was one I thought was interesting. This was July 1st. It said in June, so they put this out yesterday. In June, Aerodrome recorded 3.7 billion in volume for the liquidity pool of ETH and USDC for that pair. Whereas Uniswap did 2.5 billion. So they were just pointing out that they're making some progress and they're starting to compete with the big boys. Are they really? Let's look at DeFi Llama. Now, if you notice up here, we've gone over this before, but up here you've got these various layer ones for the most part. And you can see, for example, let's just look at Ethereum, 60 billion locked. Okay, wow. And let's look at Solana, 4.5 billion locked. Now, both of these around for quite a while. And you can see the run up. This was the last bull run, and here's where Solana is now, 4.5 billion. Okay, Base Network just started August of last year. Its trajectory is impressive. We're looking at 1.5 billion locked already on the Base Network. And Aerodrome is number one in terms of total value locked at close to 600 million, Uniswap coming in second. So Aerodrome is the largest exchange on the Base Network. Now, 1.5 billion locked. They've got about 600 million. Let's click into Aerodrome here on DeFi Llama. Let's look at their total value locked. It shows you it's done, hasn't had a lot really leave during this chopping, just like we've seen. This is just following Bitcoin and the total market itself. You can look at its market cap, total volume locked compared to the market cap. There's the market cap itself. It's gone down substantially because this was around the $2 price. This is around the 60-cent price. But if you look at it in terms of total value locked, it was it's decreased, I think, more in price than the amount of the total value lock going down, which wasn't much. And there's all the other information about it. Okay, so that's, and if we actually wanted to go back here and you see how much it's dropped down, which wasn't much. Let's just look at Solana. What has it dropped? Really not much or any at all. And let's look at Ethereum. Really not much or any at all. So it may have dropped a little more, but it's a new. Why do I like Aerodrome? All right, let's get into that real quick before we get into the charts and the pricing. Actually, let's go over real quick and look at the tokenomics here. All the sites are showing the same, and that is that there are, let's see, where's the circulating supply? About 500 million. Total about 1.1 billion. So let's just say 40 to 50% is in circulation. So the total diluted market cap is over 600 million. However, that's at 60 cents. It was just recently at $2. So triple the market cap of circulating supply and you're at 900 million. Triple the fully diluted and you're at 2 billion. So I believe this is easily at 2 billion, which would mean a triple in price. I think this is a great price. Again, not financial information. All right. Let's look at the total, let's see, AERO on TradingView. I'm sorry. And we look at the chart started back in August of last year. It hit some, I mean, this is just price discovery. It hit some RSI tops here. This is the crypto liquidity. As it pushed up to $2, it's come down, I believe, quite a bit. It's at a nice, looks like a decent support level, but, you know, tried to get through here and then it got through and then it used it as support and it certainly went through with plenty of volume. It's come down here on pretty low volume, not a lot going on, kind of being choppy. Could it go more lower? Sure. But if we look at the total two, and if you remember, the total two is every altcoins, everything except Bitcoin. And over that same period of time, we've just done a sideways chop, If you're familiar, Bitcoin's done the same. It's a lot of consolidation. So not surprised. And then if you look, and the volume is very similar to what's going on the total market. Look at the volume recently, just like you'll see the volume recently here. So it's not doing much different than the overall market. I love the Dune projector for altcoin buy signal. I've shown this before. This is the altcoin buy signal. It hasn't been this low since, gosh, back in 2020. This is basically saying it's time to buy altcoins. So buy more. Again, not advice. All right. Now, what's interesting here, before we get to a price prediction, because this is very important, and I looked it up, Coinbase has, at least as of the last numbers, 100 million people. So if you think way back when, you probably don't remember this or know this, but there was a time when you could get on the internet and there was no browser. Before Netscape. There was a time actually when your computer didn't even have Windows. That was actually a Microsoft system, Windows. You had DOS, a lot of command line stuff. What's my point? My point is, to use things like that in the past, you had to be technically savvy. So 2 bull runs ago with crypto, you had to know what you were doing. Open a MetaMask, whatever it was, buy the coins, move things around. Not easy to do. The last bull run, it got a little easier with some of the apps, but this time, I believe Coinbase is doing a great job with their user interface. And if we want to go from the 1 to 2% of nerds like myself and whoever's watching that may be able to use these sort of more difficult systems like the DEXs and the various wallets and try to figure out how to move things around and swap things and stake tokens, not easy, right? But Coinbase has made an app, like I've said before, that even my parents who are in their 80s could look at and say, this looks like my banking app. Buy, sell, put in money from my bank. I understand that, right? Easy. So why I think this is so important is that Coinbase created Base. And they did it to compete with all the other networks. Even though it's built on top of Ethereum, they're essentially trying to compete with all these layer ones. Then they funded Aerodrome as well as others, but they funded Aerodrome and it is the #1 exchange on the Base network. From what I've seen, I've been using Coinbase for a while. I use a lot of different wallets. I use a lot of different exchanges. Just that's my personality. I want to see how they all work. But what's interesting is that Coinbase has not guided anyone. It's not pushing you to the Base network. It's not pushing you to use Aerodrome. It really hasn't done anything like that, even in their wallet. Their wallet is different than their exchange app, but though I think the wallet needs some work, but that's not a big deal. They can change it and just make some upgrades. But what if Coinbase decides that they're going to now make an effort to market and push the users? They own the eyeballs. They own the Coinbase app. They have 100 million people using it, or at least they have 100 million people who have downloaded it and signed up. And if they start pushing those people to the Base network, and this is the #1 exchange, I think that the possibility could be phenomenal. So what does that mean in terms of pricing? I have no idea. So normally I wouldn't be looking at a coin that's like number 200 in the market cap list, but because it's in DeFi, which is an area that I love, along with tokenization of real world assets and things like that, AI, DeFi, I think obviously this makes a lot of sense for the finance. So where does this go? Well, it looks like you get up to around $2 or so, already been there. How much higher would it go? Well, if you look at total 2 and you say, well, the last run was around, what was that, almost 2 trillion or so. Now we're at like just over 1 trillion. I've seen many projections that, 3 trillion is not, this is just altcoins, not out of the realm of possibility. And there are those calling for 5 and 10 trillion. I don't know about this particular 24-25 bull run, but let's just assume you get back up to the $2. That could happen when it just gets back up to like the 1.2 trillion. And then if you were to triple, the market goes from 1 trillion to 3. Well, you take this $2, triple it, that's $6. So I would say on the short end, I don't see how it wouldn't make $2 personally. And I don't see how it wouldn't make $4 to $6. I really think that's incredibly conservative. Let's call $2 conservative and let's call $6 my price target. And my belief, and the reason I bought it, is because I think at one point, if Coinbase decides to turn on the floodgates, point people to this, and encourage them through their app to go here instead of somewhere else, lower fees, faster transactions, why buy things on that exchange when you can buy them on this one? If they push people there or they do something, it could really take off. That's what I think I'm going to keep my eyes on as to when and if I sell this. It's what is Coinbase going to do to promote this? Because from what I've seen, they haven't yet, but they could, and they own the eyeballs. All right. Thank you for watching. I know this was long. I hope this was helpful, but this is one of those which I would call a higher risk, but higher reward coin. I don't get into meme coins, so I just don't even look at those. So this is one that I think has a lot of potential. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And as always, please do hit that like button if you learned something today or this was useful. Leave comments below. What do you think of AERO? Do you disagree with me, or have you seen something I haven't seen? By the way, have you found any founders? I haven't. And what do you think of the future of Coinbase pushing the space network in Aerodrome? Please do subscribe if you want to see 6 days a week tips, tools, and analysis. Have a great day. And as I say, let's make generational wealth together. Thanks.